Rain hammered Miami like the sky was breaking open, and Tamara Henderson had no idea her life was hours away from exploding. She was walking home from her shift at Rosie's Grill, soaked through her thin uniform, when she froze, because lying on the sidewalk near the bus stop was the same elderly man she had given her last $20 to just an hour earlier. Only now, he wasn't shivering or confused. He wasn't moving at all. And before she could even take a step toward him, a thunderous roar ripped across the sky as a massive helicopter swept low over the neighborhood, its spotlight blasting down the street like it was searching for someone. Her heart slammed, because she suddenly realized the homeless man she helped wasn't homeless. Someone was hunting him. Before we go any further, please like the video, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. Tamara's breath shook as she stepped closer to the man. "Sir? Sir, can you hear me?" He didn't respond. His gray hair was plastered to his forehead, rainwater dripping off the ragged shirt she had wrapped around him earlier. She had thought he was just another lost soul wandering Miami storms. Plenty of seniors got confused in this area. Heat exhaustion, memory problems, it wasn't new. But something about the helicopter circling overhead, something about the frantic beam of light sweeping across Biscayne Boulevard. Something was wrong. Very wrong. She kneeled beside him. "Come on, sir, stay with me." Still nothing. Then she heard voices, shouting, somewhere in the distance. Men yelling over the rain, heavy feet slamming against pavement, flashlights flickering like frantic fireflies. She glanced around, panic rising. Were they looking for him? Or for her? "Ma'am," a voice barked. She turned sharply. Two men in tactical jackets were sprinting toward her from the corner, one holding a flashlight, the other a radio. Their jackets had no visible police insignia, no badges, nothing identifiable. The flashlight blinded her. "What are you doing with him?" the taller man demanded. Tamara stumbled back from the body. "What do you mean? Doing with him? I helped him earlier. He was lost. I gave him money. I called an ambulance. I didn't do anything wrong." The man lifted a hand. "Back away now." Her chest tightened. Everything about them felt off. Not police, not EMTs, not security, something else. "I didn't hurt him," she said, voice trembling. "I was just trying to help." The other man crouched beside the elderly figure, placing 2 fingers on his neck. After a tense second, he exhaled in relief. "He's alive." Then he pressed his radio. "We found him. He's breathing. Bring the med team." Tamara swallowed. "Who is he?" Neither of them answered. She stepped closer. "Sir, please, can someone tell me who he is?" The taller man turned, his jaw clenched, eyes narrowing like he was trying to figure her out. "How did you find him?" I work at Rosie's Grill," she stammered. "He came in earlier. He didn't seem okay. I gave him my last 20 and my jacket because he was cold. I didn't know any of this." The man's expression changed for just a moment. Surprise, maybe even guilt. But it vanished just as quickly. The helicopter's wind whipped around them, forcing Tamara to cover her face with her arms. "Let's move," the tall man barked. "Pick him up." Tamara blinked through the rain. "Wait, can someone tell me what's going on?" The tall man hesitated, then said in a low voice, "You didn't hear it from me, but you just saved the wrong man." He stepped away before she could respond. Paramedics rushed in, loading the elderly man onto a stretcher. One of them muttered, "I can't believe he ended up out here." Tamara stepped closer. "Please, is he going to be okay?" The medic paused, looking at her more gently than the others did. "He's stable. But, sweetheart, do you know who this is?" She shook her head slowly. "That's Jonathan Hale." The name meant nothing to her. The medic's eyebrows shot up. As in Hale International. As in one of the richest men in Florida. As in Billionaire. Tamara went cold. That man. She pointed at the pale, soaked figure she had wrapped in her only good jacket. He's a billionaire? The medic nodded. And worth a whole lot of trouble. Before she could process the words, one of the tactical jacketed men stepped between them. She doesn't need to know anything else. Then he lowered his voice, barely audible over the rain. This goes above your pay grade, kid. Tamara flinched. She wasn't used to people talking to her like she mattered or like she was dangerous. She had spent most of her life invisible, just another server struggling for tips in Miami storms. But tonight, she was suddenly at the center of something impossible. The stretcher was lifted into the helicopter. The rotor blades roared louder, kicking up water until Tamara had to shield her face again. As the men prepared to board, the medic gave her one last look, one that said, "Be careful." Then the helicopter lifted, rising above the neighborhood, spotlight cutting across the houses before shooting toward the private islands across Biscayne Bay. She stood there alone, drenched, trembling, staring at the sky as the noise faded. A billionaire? A missing billionaire? And she was the last person who had seen him alive? Her heart hammered. She whispered, God, what did I just get myself into? She didn't have time to wonder. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. One text from her landlord. Rent due tomorrow. No exceptions. Her chest tightened. She had exactly 073 left. She looked down at her empty hands, remembering how she had slipped her last $20 bill into that frail man's pocket earlier. She whispered, Mama, I hope I did the right thing. She started walking again, rain soaking her clothes, but her mind racing with fear. When she finally reached her street, she froze for the third time that night. Black SUVs, men in suits, and a police cruiser, right in front of her building. Her neighbor, Mrs. Lopez, stood outside in her robe, staring. When she saw Tamara, she rushed over. Girl, where were you? She whispered harshly. They're looking for you. Who? Tamara whispered. Mrs. Lopez's eyes darted toward the SUVs. People with money. Big money. Tamara's stomach dropped. What did they say they want? Mrs. Lopez swallowed. They said they're looking for the woman who helped a man in the rain, and they showed your picture. What picture? They pulled the security footage from the diner. Before Tamara could react, the door of the lead SUV opened. A man in a tailored suit stepped out, rain hitting him, but not slowing him down. His expression was sharp, tense, focused, like a man who hadn't slept in days. Tamara Henderson? He called. She froze. He stepped closer. My name is Nathan Hale. Jonathan Hale is my father. Her breath seized, and Nathan's next words made her chest collapse. You saved him tonight. And now, I need you to come with me. Tamara didn't step back, but her legs trembled hard enough to feel like they might fold beneath her. Nathan Hale stood under the streetlight, rain sliding down the sharp lines of his face. He looked powerful, controlled, but exhausted, like a man who'd been fighting the world all night. He wasn't the kind of person who belonged on her street. Not in this neighborhood, not in a storm at 2 a.m. What do you want with me? Tamara whispered. Nathan stopped a few feet away, shoulders rising and falling with a heavy breath. You were the last person to see my father before he disappeared. I need to speak with you privately. Her voice cracked. I didn't do anything wrong. I know, he said quickly. That caught her by surprise. He didn't sound accusing. He sounded desperate. Nathan's eyes softened. Miss Henderson, you saved his life, and I need you to help me understand what happened before anything else spirals out of control. SUV doors opened behind him. Men in suits stepped out, not threatening, but tense. Not police, not FBI. Private security, high level, expensive. The kind of men who protected politicians, celebrities, billionaires. Rain dripped off Tamara's chin. She hugged herself for warmth. Her voice shook. Why would anything spiral out of control? Nathan hesitated, like he was choosing his words carefully. Because my father isn't just any billionaire. He's the foundation of hundreds of companies, thousands of employees, and several international partnerships. If anything happens to him, the ripple effect is enormous. People panic, stocks crash, politicians start asking questions. The media starts digging for someone to blame. That last sentence made Tamara's stomach tie itself into a knot. Nathan noticed her fear. He breathed out slowly. I didn't come to blame you, he said. I came to thank you, and to ask for your help. A flash of lightning cut across the sky, illuminating their faces. For a moment, Tamara saw something in his eyes she didn't expect. Real worry. Pain. A son terrified of losing his father. Tamara's voice softened. Where is he now? Is he okay? They're stabilizing him, Nathan said. But he hasn't spoken yet. He was unconscious when they brought him in. They need to know what happened between the time you saw him at the diner and when they found him collapsed near the highway. Tamara rubbed her arms, shivering. He was confused, lost. He didn't say much. I thought he was homeless. Nathan ran a hand across his forehead. Rain matted into his hair. He shouldn't have been alone, not without his aid, not without security. Something is wrong. I can feel it. The security team watched silently, waiting for Nathan's word. Tamara swallowed. Why do you need me? Because, Nathan said quietly, my father reacted to you. She blinked. Reacted? When they were loading him into the helicopter, Nathan explained, stepping closer. They said his hand moved. He reached for something. The medic thought he was reaching for a memory, a familiar voice, a feeling. Nathan paused, and they realized he was reaching for you. Her heart stopped. Nathan's voice lowered. He felt safe with you, even in that condition. Tamara looked away, overwhelmed. I don't know anything about billionaires or their families. I don't know why he would remember me. Because you were kind when everyone else ignored him, Nathan said, his voice steady. You're the only person who saw him as human. He motioned to the SUV. Please, I'm not forcing you, but I'm asking. She stared at the puddles gathering around her feet. The rain, the stress, the fear, the exhaustion, the rent due tomorrow. Everything felt like too much. I don't even have dry clothes, she whispered. Nathan looked back at one of his men, who immediately opened the SUV and pulled out a neatly folded gray blanket and a thick black jacket. Nathan took them himself and held them out to her. Take these, he said softly. You shouldn't be standing in the rain like this. Her throat tightened. No one had spoken to her gently in a long time. She took the blanket and jacket. Thank you. Nathan nodded once. Whenever you're ready, we can go. Tamara hesitated. Where? The hospital, he said. My family has a private wing at Miami Bay Medical. It'll be quiet, safe, and you'll be treated with respect. Mrs. Lopez stepped closer, lowering her voice. Mija, you go. You helped that man. You did the right thing. God sees you. Tamara looked at her neighbor gratefully, then back at Nathan. She took a shaky breath. Okay, I'll come. Nathan exhaled, relieved, not triumphant, not controlling, just relieved. He opened the SUV door for her himself, shielding her from the rain with his arm as she climbed in. Once inside, she pressed the blanket around herself. warmth finally returning to her hands. Nathan slid into the seat beside her, his security team taking the front seats. The SUV pulled off her street, leaving the blue lights of police cars and the worried face of Mrs. Lopez behind. The ride was smooth, quiet, and tense. Nathan stared out the window, tapping his foot rapidly, his jaw tight with worry. Tamara studied him from the corner of her eye. He looked like the kind of man who never asked for help, like the kind who controlled everything, except tonight. He must have felt her gaze because he turned slightly. "Are you warm enough?" She nodded. "Yes. Thank you." He exhaled in relief, then leaned his head back against the seat. "When you saw him earlier, did he say anything unusual?" "He asked if it was safe," Tamara said quietly. Nathan's eyes snapped open. "Safe? He said that?" "Yes," she said. He kept repeating it, like he was scared of something. Nathan clenched his fists. Someone must have frightened him. Someone must have... He stopped himself, breath heavy. He would never wander outside alone unless he was trying to get away from something. Tamara bit her lip. "Do you have any idea what he was running from?" Nathan didn't answer at first. Then, in a low voice, "I have suspicions." "And?" she asked carefully. He turned his head slightly toward her, eyes clouded. "I think someone close." Before she could speak, the SUV slowed, passing the glowing front entrance of Miami Bay Medical. Security cameras flashed. Guards straightened as the vehicle approached. Nathan sat up straighter, all tension returning. "We're here." The SUV pulled into a private entrance. A team of doctors waited inside. Nathan opened her door again, gesturing for her to follow. "Stay close to me." She stepped out, clutching the blanket, and followed him through the sliding doors. The moment she entered the private wing, she felt eyes on her. Doctors, nurses, security. All wondering who the soaked waitress was walking beside Nathan Hale. But Nathan didn't care. He walked straight to the door of a quiet room. Through the small window, she saw him, Jonathan Hale, lying pale and frail on the bed, machines beeping softly. Tamara whispered. He looked so weak. Nathan swallowed hard. He wasn't like this a week ago. Her heart softened. "I'm sorry." Nathan looked at her slowly. "Tamara, I need to ask you something important." She nodded nervously. "What is it?" His voice dropped. "Do you remember the last thing he said before you called for help?" She froze, because she did, and it chilled her to remember it. He had grabbed her wrist with surprising strength and whispered a single sentence. "Yes," she said quietly. "I remember." Nathan's eyes darkened. "Tell me." Tamara took a shaky breath. He said, "Don't let them find me." Nathan's entire body went still. And then, outside the window of the hospital room, another helicopter swept past. Nathan didn't speak. He didn't move. The sentence hit him like a physical blow. The pulse monitor in Jonathan's room beeped steadily, but the silence between Tamara and Nathan roared louder than the hovering helicopter outside. "Don't let them find me," Nathan repeated under his breath. He actually said that. Tamara nodded. He grabbed my wrist when I tried to help him up. His eyes, they looked terrified. She swallowed. Who was he talking about? Nathan exhaled shakily and stepped back from the door, running a hand through his soaked hair. There's only one group of people my father would run from. He clenched his jaw. Family. Tamara stared at him. Family? You mean? My sister, Nathan said quietly, and the people she surrounds herself with. Before she could respond, the door on the far end of the wing burst open, and a woman in a white trench coat stormed in like she owned the building. Her heels struck the floor sharply, echoing down the hallway. Her hair was sleek and perfect despite the storm outside. Her expression was cold enough to freeze the air. "Nathan," she said stiffly, "why am I hearing that father was found in the middle of the city with a waitress?" Tamara stiffened instantly. Nathan's eyes hardened. "Victoria, not tonight." Victoria Hale. The sister he warned her about, Tamara realized instantly. And the way Victoria stared at her, like she was dirt on her shoe, made Tamara instinctively step back. "This is her?" Victoria asked, lips curling slightly. "This is the girl father was clinging to?" Tamara said nothing, but Nathan stepped protectively in front of her. She helped him. She called for medical help, kept him warm, stayed with him. She shouldn't have been anywhere near him, Victoria snapped. For all we know, she lured him out. Vulnerable old men make easy targets. Tamara's eyes widened. "I didn't lure anyone. I just—" Victoria lifted a hand dismissively. "Spare me the act. Women like you have been throwing themselves at wealthy men for centuries. It's pathetic, honestly." Nathan took a step toward her, voice low and fierce. "Say one more word like that, and you won't like what follows." Victoria's brows rose with mock amusement. "Defending her? Of course you are. You always loved strays." Tamara felt heat rise in her cheeks. Humiliation, anger, frustration, confusion. She wrapped the blanket tighter around herself. A doctor approached, nervously. "Mr. Hale, Miss Hale, we need to keep the hallway clear." Nathan waved him off. "We're done." He turned to Tamara, gentle again. "Come with me." Victoria scoffed. "Nathan, you're bringing her deeper into our business? Are you insane?" He didn't even look at his sister. "Stay out of my way, Victoria." He led Tamara to a quieter corner of the hallway, where the lights were dimmer, away from prying eyes and judgmental glares. Tamara whispered, "Why does she hate me so fast?" "She hates everyone she can't control," Nathan said. "Don't take it personally." "I'm starting to," she said weakly. Nathan's expression softened. "Don't. She's complicated." "Complicated?" Tamara tried to smile. "She just accused me of kidnapping your father." Nathan sighed. "She wants control over the estate, over the company, over everything. And father favored me to take over. She never forgave him for that." Tamara looked back at Jonathan through the window. Machines hummed. Nurses adjusted IV lines. His face looked peaceful but distant. "Do you think someone hurt him?" she whispered. Nathan hesitated. "I think someone scared him. Badly." The elevator dinged behind them. A doctor in blue scrubs approached them. "Mr. Hale, your father's condition is stable enough that we'd like to speak with the person who found him." Tamara blinked. "Me?" "Yes," the doctor said. "Not to interrogate you. We need details for his treatment." He paused. "And we think your voice might help calm him when he wakes." Tamara touched her chest. "Me? Why would my voice matter?" Nathan answered before the doctor could. "Because he connected with you. And right now, he needs something familiar." Tamara nodded slowly, heart pounding. She followed the doctor into a small consultation room. Nathan stayed outside, giving her a reassuring nod. Inside, the doctor pulled out a chair. "Sit, please." She sat, clutching the blanket. "Tell me everything," he said gently. She recounted it all, seeing Jonathan at the diner, giving him her last 20, wrapping him in her jacket, him wandering into the rain, his confusion, the moment he collapsed. Every detail. When she finished, the doctor nodded slowly. "You did the right thing. You may have saved his life." That sentence should have brought her relief. But instead, a cold feeling seeped into her stomach. If she saved him, why did it feel like she was now in danger? Outside the consultation room, Nathan paced back and forth, phone in hand. His jaw was clenched, his movements sharp. He kept glancing toward the hospital entrance like he expected something, or someone, to burst in at any moment. When she exited the room, he hurried to her side. "Did they treat you okay?" "Yes," she said. "They were kind." He nodded, relieved. "Good. I'm sorry about my sister. He exhaled. "She's impossible." Tamara hugged the blanket around her. "Your family is intense." "You haven't seen anything yet," Nathan muttered. Before she could respond, alarms blared overhead. "Code red! Code red!" Nurses ran in every direction. A security guard sprinted past. A doctor shouted orders. "What's happening?" Tamara gasped. Nathan grabbed her hand instinctively, pulling her closer so she wouldn't be caught in the chaos. A nurse yelled, "We lost the feed in the East Wing. Cameras are down." Another shouted, "Unauthorized entry on the private floor." Tamara's heart lurched. "Someone broke in." Nathan's muscles tightened. "They're here." "Who?" she whispered. He looked at her, fear flickering in his eyes. "The people my father was running from." Before she could process the words, heavy footsteps pounded down the hallway. Men in black moved swiftly, their faces hidden, their intent clear. Security engaged them, shouting for backup. Nathan pulled Tamara back. "Stay behind me." A crash echoed. A door slammed. Someone yelled in pain. Bodies collided. More alarms blared. Jonathan's room door burst open, nurses screaming as they rushed out. Tamara grabbed Nathan's arm. "We have to help him." "I know." Nathan's voice broke. "But they're after him, and now they know you were with him." Tamara's blood ran cold. A masked man pushed through the chaos, eyes locking straight onto her. Nathan shoved her behind him. "Tamara, run!" Tamara didn't think, didn't breathe. She only moved. Her feet slammed against the polished hospital floor as she sprinted down the hallway, the world behind her exploding into shouts and chaos. Nathan's voice echoed, deep, urgent, terrified. But she couldn't make out the words. All she knew was that the masked man had locked eyes with her, as if she were the very reason he was here. Her heart hammered. This wasn't normal. This wasn't accidental. This wasn't some random break-in. They wanted Jonathan, and now they wanted her too. "Tamara!" Nathan's voice thundered behind her. She skidded around a corner just as another masked figure appeared at the far end. She gasped and jerked back, stumbling. Nathan grabbed her arm, pulling her behind him. "This way!" They sprinted down a side hallway. The overhead lights flickered as if the building itself was panicking. A nurse shouted for everyone to evacuate, but the security guards were shouting conflicting orders, unsure where the threat was coming from. Nathan pulled open a door to a stairwell. "Down! Go!" They raced down the steps, but Tamara's legs shook violently. Fear mixed with confusion twisted in her stomach. "What do they want? Why are they after us?" She gasped between breaths. "Because you saw him," Nathan said sharply, taking the steps two at a time. "Because he spoke to you. Because you were with him when he disappeared." "That shouldn't matter." Nathan stopped, mid-step, grabbing the railing and turning to her. Rainwater from his soaked hair ran down his face. His chest heaved. "It matters if the wrong people think you know something. But I don't. That doesn't mean they won't try to get it out of you." Her stomach dropped so hard it felt like falling through the stairs. "Come on," Nathan said, voice rough. "Keep moving." They burst out into another hallway, this one dimmer and quieter. The tension snapped for only half a second before 3 security guards ran toward them. "Mr. Hale," one shouted. "They breached the second floor. We're evacuating patients now." Nathan tightened his grip on Tamara's hand. "Where's my father?" "Still in his room. the guard said breathlessly. We locked it down, but... A loud metallic boom cut him off. Everyone froze. That sound wasn't a door closing. It was a door being kicked open. Nathan's voice hardened. They're going for him? The guard swore under his breath. We need to get you both out of here. What about my father? Nathan demanded. We have a team protecting him. Another crash. Louder, closer. Nathan shook his head. They're not enough. Against every instinct, Tamara stepped forward. I want to help. Nathan turned sharply to her. No, you're getting out of here. But your father, he would never forgive me if anything happened to you. Nathan's voice cracked on the last word. Before she could respond, footsteps thundered from the hallway behind them. The security guard cursed. Move, move. Nathan grabbed her hand again. They sprinted through a double door and into a long hallway lined with offices. Rain from the storm outside lashed against the windows, lightning illuminating the scene in white flashes. Through here, Nathan hissed, pulling her into a dark office. He locked the door. Tamara leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Nathan pressed his ear to the door. Voices echoed down the hallway, low, hurried, male. Tamara whispered, Why are they after me? Nathan turned to her slowly. Because you saw the truth. I didn't see anything. Yes, you did, he said. You saw him out there alone, confused, scared, running, and someone will want to erase anyone who can confirm that he didn't wander off by accident. Tamara's breath caught. So, someone from your family really did... Nathan looked away. I don't want to believe it, but my father trusted the wrong people. And if he said, don't let them find me, he meant someone powerful enough to reach him anywhere. A shadow passed the office window. Both of them froze. Nathan held a finger to his lips. Footsteps came closer. A doorknob rattled lightly. Tamara clasped her hand over her mouth, eyes wide with fear. Nathan stepped in front of her automatically, shielding her with his body. The shadow paused. A faint metallic click echoed, like someone testing tools. Tamara squeezed her eyes shut. Her whole body trembled. After a tense 10 seconds, the footsteps moved away, slowly at first, then fading. Nathan exhaled shakily. We can't stay here. He cracked the door open and checked the hallway. Clear. Come on. They slipped out, moving silently. Tamara stayed close behind him. Every distant noise felt like a threat. The hospital, once calm and sterile, now felt like a maze of shadows and invisible danger. They reached a side exit. The guard waved them over urgently. This way. We have a vehicle ready. Nathan nodded and pulled Tamara along. Stay with me. Outside, the storm raged. Rain poured in sheets, drenching them instantly. A black SUV sat near the curb, engine running. But before they reached it, a black van screeched around the corner. Doors flung open. Masked men jumped out. Get down! Nathan shouted. Tamara ducked instinctively as the guards formed a barrier. One guard grabbed her shoulder, pushing her behind a pillar. Another masked man charged toward Nathan. Nathan didn't hesitate. He swung, landing a punch that sent the man stumbling back. But two more came in fast. Tamara screamed, Nathan! A guard fired a warning shot into the air. The masked men paused, exchanging glances. They hadn't expected resistance. Not here. Not this heavy. Red and blue lights flashed in the distance, sirens approaching. The masked men cursed, retreating toward their van. Nathan grabbed Tamara's arm. Run! They sprinted to the SUV. A guard shoved them inside, slammed the door, and the vehicle sped off through the storm. Tamara's hands shook so badly she could barely get a breath out. Nathan, what's happening? Why are they doing this? Nathan leaned forward, elbows on his knees, head in his hands. His voice was raw. Because my father hid something. Something someone doesn't want coming to light, and they think you know what it is. Tamara shook her head violently. But I don't know anything. Nathan lifted his head. His eyes, normally sharp, were soft now, scared, vulnerable. They don't care what you know, he said quietly. They only care what you could know. Tamara's body went cold. Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating his face. He leaned closer. You're not safe, Nathan whispered. Not anymore. The SUV raced through the storm as Miami's skyline glowed ominously in the distance. The storm outside grew heavier as the SUV cut through the city. Rain splashed against the windows like fists, drowning the sounds of sirens fading behind them. Tamara sat pressed against the door, blankets still wrapped around her, but doing nothing to calm the shaking in her body. Her lungs felt too small, her throat too tight. Nathan kept staring out the front windshield, eyes narrow, jaw clenched. Every so often he would run a hand through his wet hair, then grip his knees as if trying to hold himself together. He was unraveling, but he refused to show it. Where are we going? Tamara finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Somewhere safe, Nathan said without looking at her. That's not an answer. I know. His voice came out rough, apologetic. I don't want to scare you more than you already are. You're not helping, she said, trembling. I was just walking home. I helped your father because he needed it, not because I knew anything. And now there are masked men chasing me in a hospital. Why? Why me? Nathan turned to her finally. His eyes softened. Because you were the last person he trusted. That means something. You were the last moment of clarity he had before everything went dark. He swallowed hard. Whoever is targeting him, they would want to erase that connection. Tamara hugged herself. But I'm a nobody. I live paycheck to paycheck. I don't even know why he ended up near my job. I don't know anything about his businesses, his family, nothing. I shouldn't be part of this. Exactly, Nathan said. That's why it scares them. She blinked, confused. What do you mean? You're the only person in this entire city who helped him without wanting anything in return. Nathan looked away, voice tight. That makes you unpredictable and dangerous to them. Lightning flashed, illuminating his profile. He looked tired, broken, like the weight of a billion-dollar empire was crushing his shoulders. The guard in the front passenger seat spoke suddenly. Mr. Hale, we have 2 vehicles tailing us. Tamara's heart jumped. What? Nathan leaned forward. How far? Half a mile, closing in. Damn it, Nathan muttered. He hit the back of the driver's seat. Take the bridge, lose them. Yes, sir. The SUV accelerated, tires screeching as they turned sharply onto the Julia Tuttle Causeway. Miami's skyline glowed through the rain, reflections rippling across the dark water beneath the bridge. Tamara's breath came faster, her pulse thundering. The guard checked the side mirror again. Still coming. Do they know where we're going? Nathan asked. It looks like they're following you, not the hospital, the guard replied. Nathan inhaled sharply. Or they're following her. Tamara's stomach dropped. Me? Why would they chase me across the bridge? Because you matter more than you think, Nathan said. My father said those words to you for a reason. Tamara whispered. I wish he hadn't. The SUV veered off the bridge toward Miami Beach, weaving through the streets until they reached a narrow road lined with trees. The lane opened into a private gated community overlooking the water. Armed guards stepped out of small booths, scanning the SUV before letting them in. The gate opened. The world changed instantly. Lush gardens, palm trees swaying violently in the storm. Expansive. Homes with glowing glass windows. Expensive cars. Landscaped driveways. The kind of luxury Tamara had only ever seen on TV. They stopped at a 2-story modern mansion with tall glass walls and soft lights glowing inside. Nathan motioned for her. "Come on. Stay close." Tamara followed him out into the rain. Her shoes splashed into puddles. The wind whipped her hair across her face. Everything felt unreal, like she had walked into someone else's life by accident. Nathan led her through the front doors. Warmth washed over her immediately. The house smelled like cedar and faint cologne. The marble floor was cold under her feet. A man in his 50s approached, broad-shouldered, calm. The kind of calm that scared her more than yelling. "Sir, everything is secure. Emergency lockdown protocol is activated." "Good," Nathan said. "Prepare a room for Miss Henderson." Tamara stiffened. "A room? No, I'm not staying here." Nathan turned to her slowly. Rainwater dripped from his clothes onto the floor. "You can't go home. Not tonight. My neighbor, my landlord. Someone will worry. Your building isn't safe," Nathan said gently. "And I can't protect you from outside threats if you're out there by yourself." "I don't want to be a burden," she whispered. "You're not a burden," he said. "You're a witness. And you're the only person who made my father feel safe. That makes you important, to me and to him." His voice cracked slightly at the end. Tamara looked down, overwhelmed. The older man glanced between them. "Sir, I'll have the guest suite prepared immediately." Nathan nodded. "Thank you, Marcus." Marcus disappeared down the hallway. Nathan took a breath, rubbing the back of his neck. "There are cameras everywhere here. Guards, alarms, reinforced doors. You'll be protected." "But how long?" Tamara asked softly. "As long as it takes." "That sounds like forever," she whispered. Nathan's eyes held hers. "I hope it's not." A moment passed. Quiet, heavy, emotional. Then Nathan looked away quickly, clearing his throat. "I should check on my father's status. They'll call me any moment." He pointed down a hallway. "Marcus will show you to your room. Get warm. Try to rest if you can." She nodded silently, but as she turned to follow Marcus down the hallway, Nathan called her name. "Tamara." She faced him. Nathan took a step toward her, something raw in his expression. I'm glad you were the one who found him. I don't know what would have happened if you didn't." Her heart twisted. "I just did what anyone would do," she said quietly. "No." Nathan shook his head. Most people walked past him. She didn't know what to say. Marcus reappeared. "Miss Henderson?" Tamara followed him upstairs. The guest suite was enormous, bigger than her entire apartment. Soft lights, plush carpet, a bed that looked like a cloud. Her reflection in the tall window looked fragile, drenched, shivering, eyes wide with shock. Marcus handed her a towel and clean clothes. "If you need anything, just press the panel by the bed." "Thank you," she murmured. Marcus left, closing the door quietly. Tamara stood alone. Only then did her body begin to shake uncontrollably, her breath catching in her throat as the fear and adrenaline crashed into her all at once. She sank onto the edge of the bed, pressing her hands to her face. "What's happening to me?" she whispered into her palms. A soft knock startled her. She looked up. The door opened an inch. Nathan's voice drifted in softly. "Tamara, can I talk to you for a moment?" Her heart jumped. "Yes," she said. Nathan stepped inside, closing the door behind him. His eyes met hers, full of something she didn't expect. Guilt, fear, and helplessness. "Something happened at the hospital," he said quietly. "What?" Nathan swallowed hard. "They tried to move my father to a different room. He paused, voice unsteady. He woke up. Her breath froze. And the first word he said, Nathan continued, taking another step closer, was your name. Tamara's breath caught in her chest. He said my name? Nathan nodded, stepping farther into the room. His usually composed face was trembling with a mixture of hope and fear. He said it clearly. Tamara. He exhaled like he'd been holding the air all night. It was the first thing out of his mouth. Tamara stood slowly, the blanket falling from her shoulders. Why me? We only met for a few minutes. I just helped him in the rain. That's exactly why, Nathan whispered. You were kind to him when no one else cared. You gave him something people in his world rarely offer, gentleness without motive. Tamara's throat tightened. Her eyes burned. She hadn't cried in months, maybe years. She didn't have time for tears when life kept punching her. You said he was scared, she whispered. Scared of someone. Scared of being found. Nathan nodded. He was trying to escape, and you were the only safe person he met during it. A soft vibration buzzed in Nathan's pocket. He pulled out his phone, glanced at the screen, and froze. Is it the hospital? She asked. He swallowed. It's my father. He's awake. He's asking to see you. Tamara backed up as if she'd been pushed. Me? No, I can't just... I don't belong there. I'm not part of your family. You are now, Nathan said quietly. The words made the room too warm, too heavy. Nathan held out his hand. Come with me. She hesitated only a moment before placing her hand in his. The drive back to the hospital felt surreal. Security escorted them all the way to the private elevator. The lights still flickered from earlier damage, but the chaos had settled. The masked men were gone. Emergency teams were posted everywhere. Nathan guided her to Jonathan's room. Are you ready? No, she whispered. But let's go. Nathan opened the door. Jonathan Hale lay propped up on pillows, oxygen tubes in place. His silver hair was brushed back neatly. His skin looked fragile, but his eyes, sharp, awake, aware, lifted instantly when they entered. And when he saw Tamara, he smiled. My angel, he whispered. Tamara froze in the doorway. Jonathan lifted a trembling hand. Come closer, dear. She stepped forward until she was standing beside his bed. His hand brushed hers, soft and warm. You saved me, he murmured. I just did what anybody would have. No. His voice was weak but firm. People walked past me, but you stopped. You gave me your last $20. His voice cracked. A billionaire lying on a sidewalk, and the only person who helped me was a girl with nothing. Tamara blinked back tears. You were cold. You were scared. Anyone with a heart would have done the same. Jonathan studied her face carefully, then looked at Nathan. She's honest. I told you. Nathan's eyes softened, relief washing over him. Jonathan looked back at Tamara. They're after me, child. People who want control of my company, my fortune, my legacy. They wanted me gone. But you... His hand tightened slightly. You kept me alive long enough to get help. Tamara's heart thudded painfully. Sir, you don't owe me anything. I didn't help you because of who you were. I didn't know anything about you. That, Jonathan whispered, is exactly why you're the one person I trust. Nathan took a breath. Dad, I need to know the truth. Who were you running from? Jonathan's eyes flickered with pain. Your sister. Tamara felt the air shift. Nathan looked like someone had stabbed him. Victoria? Why? She forged documents, Jonathan rasped, moved funds, tried to transfer power of attorney. When I confronted her, she panicked. She tried to lock me in the estate. I escaped while the guards were distracted. Tamara covered her mouth, horrified. Nathan took a shaky step back. His world was falling apart in front of him. Dad, I never thought she'd go this far. Jonathan squeezed Tamara's hand again. She fears truth, and truth is very hard to erase, especially when someone sees it by accident. Tamara whispered, "Sir, I promise I'll do whatever helps you. I won't run away." Jonathan smiled softly. "You remind me of your mother," he said. "Strong, warm, brave." Tears slid down Tamara's cheeks. Jonathan's voice weakened. "Nathan." Nathan rushed to his side. "I'm here." Jonathan looked between them, his son and the girl who had saved him. "Protect her, no matter what." "I will," Nathan said instantly, voice breaking. Jonathan closed his eyes briefly, then opened them again. "Tamara." "Yes," she whispered. "I'm giving you something," he murmured. "No, sir, I don't need anything." Jonathan shook his head faintly. "It's not money, it's purpose." He reached for Nathan's hand and placed it on top of hers. "You two, don't waste what life is offering you." Both of them froze. Tamara felt her heart slam against her ribs. Nathan looked at her with something raw, unguarded. Jonathan smiled gently, then drifted into sleep again. Doctors entered quietly, checking his vitals, assuring them he was stable. Outside the room, Nathan leaned against the wall, shoulders shaking as he tried to hold himself together. Tamara stepped closer, placing a hand on his arm. "Nathan, I'm sorry." He closed his eyes, leaning into her touch for a moment. "Thank you for staying. I don't know what I would have done tonight without you." She exhaled softly. "You're not alone." Nathan opened his eyes. "Neither are you." Their hands brushed again, just lightly, but the spark between them was impossible to ignore. The night slowly faded toward dawn. The storm outside softened, and Tamara realized her life had been rewritten in a single evening. She had walked home in the rain, broke and exhausted, and ended up protecting a billionaire, unraveling a family secret, and standing beside a man who looked at her like she mattered more than she realized. Nathan reached for her hand, not forcefully, not dramatically, just gently, like he was asking permission to stay close. And she let him. "Come on," he said quietly. "Let's face whatever comes next, together." Tamara nodded, a small smile forming. Together. Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who would love a story like this. Your support truly means a lot.